A dream wedding turned into a nightmare. A beautiful bride, her first dance, and moments later, she's gone forever. But what really happened that night? This was supposed to be the happiest day of Samantha Miller's life. A day filled with love, laughter, and a promise of forever. But just hours after saying, "I do," she took her final dance with her killer. In this video, we uncover the shocking truth behind the tragic wedding night that ended in horror. You'll learn about the chilling moments before the crash, the reckless decision that changed lives forever, and the haunting words spoken in the aftermath. Stay with us until the end as we reveal the heartbreaking details most people don't know, details that will make you question how one choice can destroy everything in an instant. Before we talk about the tragic events of that night, let's go back to where it all began, the wedding day of Samantha Miller. A day filled with love, joy, and endless possibilities. Samantha Miller was not just a bride. She was a daughter, a sister, and a best friend to many. Described as full of life, kind-hearted, and deeply in love with her fiancé, Eric Hutchinson, she had been dreaming of this day for years. The couple had planned a beautiful wedding, one that would be remembered for all the right reasons. The ceremony took place on Folly Beach, South Carolina, a picturesque coastal town known for its sandy shores and breathtaking sunsets. Located just outside Charleston, Folly Beach is a place where time seems to slow down, where the waves crash gently against the shore, and where love stories come to life. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the ocean, Samantha and Eric exchanged their vows. Friends and family gathered, watching as the couple promised to spend forever together. Laughter filled the air, music played softly, and the celebration was nothing short of magical. Folly Beach, often called the Edge of America, is known for its relaxed atmosphere, vibrant nightlife, and scenic beauty. It's a place where people escape to make memories, where wedding parties dance barefoot in the sand, and where love feels just a little more special. That night, it was the perfect backdrop for Samantha and Eric's celebration, until everything changed. The reception was held in an open-air venue, with twinkling lights overhead and the sound of the ocean in the background. Guests clinked their glasses, toasted to the newlyweds, and danced under the stars. Samantha, in her flowing white dress, was radiant. Every step she took, every smile she shared, seemed to capture the essence of happiness. As the night progressed, the energy only grew. There was laughter, storytelling, and endless dancing. Samantha and Eric swayed to their first dance as husband and wife, surrounded by friends and family who cheered them on. It was a moment of pure joy, a memory they had waited years to create. But beyond the celebration, beyond the music and the laughter, something was happening elsewhere. A decision was being made, one that would intersect with Samantha's perfect night in the most tragic way. Before the wedding day arrived, there was another moment that felt just as magical: the engagement. Samantha Miller and Eric Hutchinson weren't just another couple planning a wedding. They were two people deeply in love, building a future together. Their journey to the altar started long before they exchanged vows on Folly Beach. Samantha and Eric met like many couples do, through a mix of fate and timing. From their very first conversation, there was an undeniable connection. Friends would often say they were perfect for each other, the kind of couple that made love look effortless. They balanced each other in every way. Samantha's infectious energy complemented Eric's steady presence. Their relationship grew over time, built on shared dreams, late-night talks, and countless little moments that made them inseparable. They loved traveling together, exploring new places, and imagining what their future would look like. Marriage wasn't just an idea for them. It was something they talked about often, something they both knew was inevitable. The proposal itself was nothing short of perfect. Eric had spent weeks planning the right moment, wanting everything to be just right. He knew Samantha valued sentiment over grandeur, so he chose a location that held meaning for them, a quiet, beautiful spot where they had shared many special moments. That evening, as the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Eric got down on one knee. Samantha's breath, caught in her throat. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Then, with happy tears in her eyes, she said yes. The ring was beautiful, but it was the look in Eric's eyes that meant the most. It was a promise, a commitment to forever. Their engagement was filled with excitement. Samantha wasted no time diving into wedding planning, creating Pinterest boards, visiting venues, and imagining the perfect day. She wanted every detail to reflect their love story, from the flowers to the music to the vows they would exchange. Family and friends were thrilled for them. Samantha and Eric weren't just loved as individuals, they were adored as a couple. Their engagement parties were filled with laughter, stories, and endless toasts to the future. Everyone could see how happy they were, how ready they were to take this next step. As the wedding day drew closer, the anticipation only grew. They chose Folly Beach for a reason. It wasn't just a beautiful location. It was a place that felt right to them. A place where they could celebrate surrounded by the people they loved most. The final days before the wedding were a whirlwind of excitement and last-minute preparations. Samantha had picked the perfect dress, a gown that made her feel like the bride she had always dreamed of being. Eric had chosen his suit, looking forward to the moment he would see Samantha walking down the aisle. Every little detail was falling into place, every moment leading up to what should have been the beginning of their forever. But fate had other plans. What started as a celebration of love would soon become a heartbreaking tragedy, one that no one saw coming. From the moment Eric placed the ring on Samantha's finger, everything felt more real. They were no longer just a couple in love. They were two people stepping toward forever. The engagement wasn't just a title. It was a season of planning, dreaming, and preparing for the life they had always envisioned together. Samantha had always imagined what her engagement would feel like, but nothing could have prepared her for the overwhelming joy of that moment. She would stare at her ring, turning it in the light, smiling to herself as she replayed the proposal over and over. It wasn't just about the diamond or the setting. It was about what it symbolized. A promise, a future, a love strong enough to last a lifetime. Her friends and family shared in her excitement. Calls and messages poured in, filled with congratulations and happy tears. Everyone knew how much she and Eric loved each other, and there was no doubt in anyone's mind that they were meant to be. The engagement party was one of the first celebrations of their new chapter, an evening filled with laughter, toasts, and stories about how their love story had unfolded. As the months passed, wedding planning took center stage. Samantha was the type of person who put her heart into everything she did, and this was no exception. She wanted the day to be perfect, not just for her, but for Eric, for their families, and for everyone who had supported them along the way. Every choice, from the venue to the color scheme, reflected pieces of their journey together. Folly Beach was an easy decision. It had always been special to them, a place where they had shared sunrises, long walks, and quiet conversations about the future. It was a place that felt like home, where the ocean stretched endlessly and the salty breeze carried the sound of laughter and music. Choosing it as their wedding destination made everything feel even more magical. Between dress fittings, floral arrangements, and cake tastings, Samantha and Eric found time to simply enjoy being engaged. They went on date nights, took weekend trips, and soaked in the excitement of knowing they would soon be husband and wife. The stress of wedding planning never overshadowed the bigger picture. They reminded each other often that this wasn't just about one day. It was about the lifetime that would follow. Their love for each other was evident in the smallest moments. Eric would leave Samantha handwritten notes, reminding her how much he loved her. She would surprise him with little gifts, things that showed she had been paying attention to his every word. They were best friends, partners, and soulmates, building something that felt unbreakable. As the wedding day approached, their excitement grew. The final days were filled with last-minute preparations, but through it all, there was an overwhelming sense of happiness. They had waited for this moment for so long, and now it was just within reach. The night before the wedding, Samantha and Eric shared a quiet moment together, away from the chaos of planning and guests arriving. They talked about everything: how far they had come, what they were looking forward to, and how lucky they felt to have found each other. There were no nerves, no second thoughts. Just love. Pure, undeniable love. The morning of the wedding was everything Samantha had hoped it would be. The sun rose over Folly Beach, casting a golden glow over the sand. There was a peacefulness in the air, a feeling that everything was exactly as it should be. Samantha and her bridesmaids spent the morning getting ready, laughing, reminiscing, and soaking in every moment. Eric and his groomsmen did the same, the excitement building with every passing minute. As she slipped into her wedding dress, Samantha caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. For a moment, she just stared, taking in the reality of what was happening. This was the day she had dreamed of, the moment she had been waiting for. She was about to marry the love of her life, to start the next chapter of their story. And she had never been happier. From the moment Eric proposed, Samantha's life felt like a beautiful whirlwind. The days were filled with excitement, with endless conversations about their future and plans for the perfect wedding. Every decision felt meaningful, from choosing the date to deciding on the small details that would make their celebration uniquely theirs. Samantha was the kind of person who put her heart into everything she did, and wedding planning was no exception. She spent hours researching venues, colors, and themes, wanting everything to reflect the love she and Eric shared. She imagined an intimate ceremony surrounded by family and friends, with the ocean as their backdrop and laughter filling the air. Eric, ever the steady and supportive partner, loved watching her enthusiasm. He wasn't the type to stress over flower arrangements or table settings, but he knew how much it meant to Samantha. So, he was there for every decision, every late-night planning session, and every moment she needed reassurance that everything would be perfect. One of the first things they decided on was the guest list. They wanted their closest friends and family there, people who had been a part of their journey, who had watched their love grow from the beginning. Samantha took special care in designing the invitations, making sure they reflected the warmth and joy she felt in her heart. As the months passed, their engagement became more than just planning a wedding. It was a time to deepen their bond, to cherish the little moments between them. They took long walks in the evenings, talking about their future home, their dreams, and the life they would build together. They laughed over silly arguments about wedding songs and menu choices, always finding a way to compromise and make each other happy. Samantha's family was deeply involved in the planning, especially her mother. The two spent countless hours together, visiting bridal shops and envisioning the perfect wedding dress. Samantha wanted something timeless, something that would make her feel like the most beautiful version of herself. The moment she found the dress, she knew it was everything she had imagined and more. Eric, on the other hand, kept things simple. He trusted Samantha's vision and focused on what mattered most to him, making sure she was happy. When it came time to pick his suit, he chose something classic and elegant, knowing that all eyes would be on his bride that day. Despite the joy of planning, there were moments of stress. Unexpected delays, small disagreements, and the natural pressures of organizing such an important event. But through it all, Samantha and Eric leaned on each other. They reminded themselves that, at the end of the day, the wedding was just one day. Their love was what truly mattered. The weeks leading up to the wedding were a blur of excitement. There were final dress fittings, last-minute guest confirmations, and endless lists to check off. Samantha's bridesmaids threw her a beautiful bridal shower, a day filled with laughter, stories, and heartfelt advice about marriage. Eric's groomsmen planned a simple but meaningful celebration, one that reflected his laid-back personality and deep appreciation for the friendships he had built over the years. With each passing day, the reality of their upcoming wedding sank in. Samantha would often catch herself daydreaming about the moment she would walk down the aisle, about the look on Eric's face when he saw her in her dress for the first time. Eric, too, felt the weight of the moment, knowing that in just a short time he would officially call Samantha his wife. The night before the wedding, there was a quiet anticipation in the air. Samantha sat with her closest friends, reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this moment. She felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude, not just for the love she shared with Eric, but for the people who had supported them along the way. Eric, in his own way, did the same. He thought about the first time he met Samantha, about all the little moments that led them here. He wasn't nervous. He was ready. Ready to take this next step. Ready to start their life together. As the stars filled the sky that night, neither of them could have imagined what was coming. For now, there was only love, only excitement, only the feeling that tomorrow would be the best day of their lives. The engagement wasn't just about planning a wedding. It was about celebrating the love that had brought them to this moment. From the day Eric proposed, Samantha felt like she was living in a dream, one she never wanted to wake up from. The world around her seemed brighter, every little moment more meaningful. Even the simplest things like cooking dinner together or watching movies on the couch felt different now. They weren't just dating anymore. They were building something permanent, something real. Their families were just as excited as they were. Samantha's mother had always known her daughter would find someone special, but seeing the way Eric looked at her confirmed what she had always hoped for, that Samantha had found the kind of love that lasts a lifetime. Eric's family adored Samantha, too. She brought an energy into his life that they had never seen before, a happiness that was undeniable. One of the first things Samantha and Eric did after getting engaged was take engagement photos. They wanted something simple, something that reflected who they were as a couple. So they chose a quiet spot near the beach, where the waves rolled in gently and the sky stretched endlessly above them. The photographer captured them laughing, holding hands, stealing glances at each other like they were the only two people in the world. The photos weren't just beautiful. They were a reminder of the love they shared, frozen in time. As the wedding date drew closer, reality started to sink in. They were really doing this. They were about to become husband and wife. Every time Samantha looked at her ring, she felt a sense of awe. She had dreamed of this for so long, and now it was happening. Eric felt it, too. He wasn't one to get overly sentimental, but there were moments when he would stop and just watch Samantha, realizing how lucky he was. He had always known she was special, but the engagement made everything feel more real. This was forever. Their friends played a big role in making the engagement even more special. Samantha's bridesmaids were there for every step of the planning, helping her pick out decorations, choose a dress, and make decisions when she felt overwhelmed. They threw her a bachelorette party that was less about wild nights and more about celebrating friendship, filled with heartfelt toasts and stories about how much she meant to them. Eric's groomsmen kept things simple. A weekend away, just the guys, reminiscing about old times and looking ahead to the future. It wasn't about the party. It was about the bond they shared, about standing by each other through every stage of life. Through all the excitement, Samantha and Eric made sure to take time for just the two of them. They knew wedding planning could be stressful, but they never wanted to lose sight of what this was really about. So they planned date nights where no wedding talk was allowed, just moments to be together, to remind themselves why they were doing this in the first place. They wrote their vows separately, each wanting to surprise the other on the wedding day. Samantha spent nights scribbling down words, trying to capture everything she felt in a way that did their love justice. Eric did the same, though he kept his process more private. He wanted his words to come straight from the heart, to be as real and raw as his love for her. The excitement built with each passing day. The closer they got to the wedding, the more real everything felt. Samantha's dress was ready, the venue was set, and all that was left was to say, "I do." Eric felt a quiet anticipation, knowing that in just a short time, his life would change forever. Everything was falling into place. The life they had always dreamed of was just within reach. Samantha Miller's story is one of love, joy, and a future that was stolen in an instant. What should have been the happiest night of her life turned into a heartbreaking tragedy, one that never should have happened. Her final dance, shared with the man she loved, was followed by an unimaginable loss. This incident is a painful reminder of the consequences of reckless decisions. One person's choice to drive under the influence didn't just take a life. It shattered families, left a husband grieving, and turned a celebration into a nightmare. No one ever thinks it will happen to them, but the truth is, tragedies like this are entirely preventable. Samantha's memory deserves to live on, not just in the hearts of those who loved her, but in the actions we take moving forward. Let her story be a reason to think twice before getting behind the wheel impaired. Let it be a reminder to always choose safety, for yourself, for your loved ones, and for the countless lives that can be affected by one careless decision. If Samantha's story moved you, help us spread awareness. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this message with others. Together, we can honor her memory and work toward a future where tragedies like this never happen again.